Good morning. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, and in reading, we are looking at the book Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs by Mo Willems. And yesterday we did our predictions, so we wrote our predictions out. And today I'm going to read you the whole book. We'll take a look to see if our prediction was right, and then we're going to focus on our retell of the story. So we have a lot to do today. Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs. Once upon a time, there were 3 dinosaurs: Papa Dinosaur, Mama Dinosaur, and some other dinosaur who happened to be visiting from Norway. Home, sweet dinosaur, home. One day, for no particular reason, the 3 dinosaurs made up their beds, positioned their chairs just so, and cooked 3 bowls of delicious chocolate pudding at varying temperatures. "Oh boy," said Papa Dinosaur in his loud, booming voice, "it is finally time to leave and go to someplace else." "Yes," continued Mama Dinosaur, "I sure hope no innocent little succulent child happens by our unlocked home while we are, someplace else." Are they really going away? I think they're setting a trap. Har, har, har. Then the other dinosaur made a loud noise that sounded like a big, evil laugh, but was probably just a polite Norwegian expression. The 3 dinosaurs went someplace else, and were definitely not hiding in the woods, waiting for an unsuspecting kid to come by. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, a poorly supervised little girl named Goldilocks came traipsing along. Just then, the forest boomed with what could have been a dinosaur yelling, "Gotcha!" But I'm pretty sure it was just the wind. The loud noise was immediately followed by another loud noise that sounded kind of like, "Be patient, Papa Dinosaur, the trap is not yet sprung." But that could have been a rock falling or a squirrel. Either way, Goldilocks was not the type of little girl who listened to anyone or anything. For example, Goldilocks never listened to warnings about the dangers of barging into strange, enormous houses. So as soon as Goldilocks came across a strange, enormous house, she barged right in. Inside, Goldilocks immediately smelled the 3 bowls of delicious chocolate pudding. Said Goldilocks, "that chocolate pudding smells delicious. If only I could get all the way up to the top of that counter." Then Goldilocks noticed a very tall ladder that just happened to be there, and certainly wasn't left on purpose. This is where we stopped it yesterday. So, we wanted to figure out what she does with her pudding. Let's find out. Goldilocks climbed up the ladder and found herself face to face with 3 gigantic bowls of chocolate pudding. The first bowl of chocolate pudding was too hot, but Goldilocks ate it all anyway because, hey, it's chocolate pudding, right? The second bowl of chocolate pudding was too cold, but who cares about temperature when you've got a big bowl of chocolate pudding? Not her. The third bowl of chocolate pudding was just right, but Goldilocks was on such a roll by now, she hardly noticed. Soon, Goldilocks was stuffed like one of those delicious chocolate-filled little girl bonbons, which, by the way, are totally not the favorite thing in the whole world for hungry dinosaurs. The first chair was too tall. The second chair was too tall. But the third chair was too tall. Goldilocks wasn't going to climb that high just to sit in some chair, so she hiked over to her bedroom. When she got there, Goldilocks noticed the beds were also gigantically big. "What's going on around here?" groaned the exhausted girl. "The bears that live here must be nuts." Ooh, but do bears live there? We know that, but Goldilocks doesn't know that. Just then, the room filled with a loud booming noise that was either a passing truck or a dinosaur gloating. "A few more minutes and she'll be asleep. Delicious chocolate-filled little girl. Bonbons are yummer when they're rusted." Even a little girl who had never listened to anyone or anything had to hear that. Home, sweet dinosaur, home. Goldilocks took a minute to stop and think, which was longer than she was used to stopping and thinking. "Hey," she told herself, "this isn't some bear's house. This is some dinosaur's house." Say what you like about Goldilocks, but she was no fool. As quickly as she could, she ran to the back door and got out of there. Just then, a loud plane flew by, which sounded pretty much like a trio of dinosaurs yelling, "Now!" or "Charge!" or a Norwegian expression for "chewy bonbon time." Suddenly and completely coincidentally, the three dinosaurs rushed through the front door, but they were too late. Goldilocks was gone, and all that was left in the house were three disappointed dinosaurs. The end. Did you like that book? It's pretty silly. We're going to read the real Goldilocks tomorrow, and we'll think about how that's the same and how that's different. But for today, we're just going to practice doing our retell. And before I wanted to do that, I wanted to go back to our writing yesterday to show you some of the different things that we had for that. So let me pull that up real quick. So yesterday we predicted and guessed that Goldilocks was going to eat the pudding. And we wrote, "I think she will eat the pudding." Were we right? Yes, we said that she was gonna eat the pudding because she loved chocolate and it smelled so delicious. So we were right. So I drew a picture of Goldilocks with pudding all over her face, and she ate the pudding. So if you wanna go back and do your writing to finish up from yesterday, I wrote, "She ate the pudding." So you can either pause the video and go back and write that on your paper, or if you just want to watch for today, that's okay too. All right, we're going to get our retell pieces out, and you're going to need your glue and scissors, a piece of construction paper, and the pieces that I gave you. So if you don't have those things, go get those now, and we will do it together. All right, so I need you to think of the beginning of the story. How did the story begin? I'm going to give you a few different choices. Did it start where she wanted to sit down, but all of the chairs were too tall? Did it start where they made chocolate pudding and went to hide out in the woods? Or did it start once upon a time, there were three dinosaurs? Once upon a time, there were three dinosaurs is a pretty good guess. Usually if we're saying once upon a time, it's the beginning of a story. And we just read the book, so we know that the dinosaurs started our story. Once upon a time, there were three dinosaurs. Then what happened? So now we need to think. Did Goldilocks notice that the beds were gigantic? Did they make chocolate pudding and went out to hide in the woods? Or did Goldilocks go to their house? What happens next? They made chocolate pudding and went to hide in the woods. Goldilocks noticed that the beds were gigantic, or Goldilocks went in the house? Yeah, they made their pudding. Remember, they set the trap. They wanted to see if they could get Goldilocks to come in the house, so they made that pudding. Next, does Goldilocks go into the house? Does she hear the dinosaurs? Or does she sit down in the chairs, but they're all too tall? What happens next? She goes into the house. Yeah, this one. Right after they set their trap and leave, the dinosaurs leave, Goldilocks goes into their house. She invites herself in. Then what happens? Does she run away from the house? No, well, that's the very end of the book. Does she want to sit down, but all the chairs are too tall? Or does she eat all the pudding? The pudding, remember? They put out the trap of the pudding. She goes in the house, and she loves that pudding. She went right up and ate all 3 bowls. Then, what happens next? Does she go into the beds first? Does she run away from the house? Or does she want to sit down, but all the chairs are too tall? So think, what happened after she ate that pudding? Yeah, she tries the chairs, remember? She wanted to sit in a chair, but they were all too tall. So that didn't work. But she tried to sit in the chair. And when she couldn't sit in the chair, then what happened? She went to the beds. She was going to try to go lay down because she was feeling a little tired, but then something happened. Did she hear the dinosaurs, or did she run from the house? She heard the dinosaurs with their plan, so she ran from the house. And this should be your last piece. Whew, that was a lot of things that happened in that story. So I'm going to show you one more time real quick. We have once upon a time, there were 3 dinosaurs. They made chocolate pudding and went to hide in the woods. Goldilocks went into the house. And then she ate all the pudding. She wanted to sit down, but all of the chairs were too tall. She noticed that the beds were gigantic. And then she heard the dinosaurs, and she ran away from the house. The end. When you are finished, yours will look like this. So I will keep this here for a minute. And if you want to pause the video and double check your work with mine, you can do that now. But that was a lot of work that we did today. So we read the whole book. We looked back at our predictions to see if they were right in our writing. And we did our retell today. I hope you like that book. We will do more with it tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.